Okay guys, working on trail marker number 1. Now these are the 10 questions that are going to be on trail marker number 1. So remember, you have to be able to do 8, 9, or 10 of these skills, and they are all or nothing. So you have to know how to do the entire skill in order to get full credit. Okay? So we can practice as much as needed. Repeat this video if you need to. Follow along and maybe even try similar questions. Ask your teacher for a different review. Here's the first question. Let f of x equal negative 3x plus 7. Solve for x if f of x equals 19. So because this is outside of the parentheses, it is an output. And this tells you exactly what to do. Solve for x. The only way you can solve for x is if you have an equation. So what we need to do is we need to set 19, which is that output, equal to the function f of x, which is negative 3x plus 7. And then you can solve for x, which just tells you in the directions. Inverse order of operations, so I'm going to subtract 7. So that gives me 12 equals negative 3x. And then, to undo multiplication, I'm going to apply the inverse, which is division. And 12 divided by negative 3 equals x equals negative 4. Now, I will accept this answer, but I would like you to put it back into function notation. F of the input that you just found is equal to the output that we started with. Okay? Question 2. Write the equation of a line that passes through the point 2, negative 1 and has a slope of m, or 4. So whenever it says write the equation of a line, you need to think y equals mx plus b. Remember, we need to fill in the slope and the y-intercept. So when you have those two numbers, then you can plug it into the equation, and then you'll have your equation in slope-intercept form. But if you look, we're not given the slope and the y-intercept, we're given a slope and a point. So let's label what we have. Remember that slope is represented by the variable m, and this coordinate can be represented by the point x, comma, y. And if you notice, we have 3 of the 4 variables in an equation. So I'm going to plug in negative 1 for y, I'm going to plug in 4 for m, I'm going to replace x with 2, and then I do not know b. But if you notice, we only have 1 variable, so let's solve for that b. 4 times 2 is 8. To move 8 to the other side so I can isolate b, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides, and b equals negative 9. Now remember, this was only to get the y-intercept, so now I still need to write the equation. Y equals, replace m with the slope, keep x the same, and then plug negative 9 in for b. And here's your equation. Number 3, let f of x equal 2x plus 6, and now you have to evaluate negative 5 as an input. So it's going to be plugged in for x. So f of negative 5 is equal to 2 times negative 5 plus 6. Notice how this was plugged in for x. Simplify the right side, because remember the left side is just notation. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10 plus 6. One more step. Negative 10 plus 6 is negative 4. I have an input of negative 5, which was given to us, and we found the output of negative 4. Question 4. Solve the following equation for x. Remember, when we are solving, just like question 1, we're going to do the inverse order of operations. So if I see this division symbol, I need to apply the inverse. Not exactly what you see. A lot of people divide by 2, but I have division of 2, and I need to apply the inverse. That means I need to multiply by 2 to both sides. The 2's simplify out, which gives me x equals negative 6 times 2 is negative 12. Question 5. Solve the following equation. Inverse order of operations. So I need to move the variables to one side and the constants to the other. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides. And remember, notice how I wrote 7 underneath the 13 because that's the like term. Those are the two constants. The 7's simplify out on the left side, which leaves me with 15x on the left and 5x plus 20 on the right. Now if I move my constants to the right side, I need to move my variables to the other. So I'm going to subtract 5x because that's the inverse of a positive 5x, or addition of 5x. And the 5x is simplified on the right side. 15x minus 5x gives me 10x, and I'm left with 20 on the right side of the equation. Last step, isolate x. So I'm going to divide by 10 to undo multiplication. The 10's simplify out, and I get x equals 2. Halfway there. Simplify the following expression. So if we're simplifying, we're going to follow order of operations from the way down, from the top down. PEMDAS. Okay, any parentheses? There is a parenthesis, but can I simplify negative 2 anymore? Nope, so I'm done with parentheses. Any exponents? Well, there's some exponents of 1, but you can't simplify anything else. Okay, so let's go to multiplication and division. Well, I do see division here, so let's simplify that, which gives me negative 4. And I also see multiplication here, which allows me to keep the addition symbol between these two, but then 6 times 7 is 42. And now that I'm done with division and multiplication, all I have left is addition. So let's add these two up, which gives me positive 38. A lot of you guys left it in this state right here by simplifying the outsides, but then forgetting you have to continue to add. Number 7, solve the following equation for y. Okay, this is still just solving an equation. Isolate the variable y, which means you have to move everything to the opposite side of the equation. And getting y by itself. Okay, so if I want to do the inverse order of operations, work from the way down. Do I see any subtraction symbols? I see a negative sign in front of the 2, but no subtraction. Do I see an addition symbol? I do right here. So I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. The 6x's simplify out, and I'm left with negative 2y equals 10 minus 6x. Okay, because 10 and 6x are not like terms. Any division? I don't see any division, but I do see multiplication, negative 2 times y. So I'm going to divide every single part of the equation by negative 2. Okay, don't forget that negative symbol. The negative 2's simplify out. So now if we simplify everything or divide by negative 2, we get 10 divided by negative 2 is negative 5, and negative 6 divided by negative 2 is a positive 3x. And I will absolutely accept that answer, but remember when we write an equation in slope-intercept form, the mx is before the b. So if you want to be consistent and you want to rewrite this in slope-intercept form like we've seen it in question 2, please do that by switching the 3x and the negative 5. So the 3x stays positive and the negative 5 stays negative. And here is my equation in slope-intercept form. Question 8, simplify the following expression. Well, if you notice, we have a negative 2 out front of the parentheses, so we can distribute this negative 2. Negative 2 times x is a negative 2x. Negative 2 times a positive 2y is a negative 4y. And then just rewrite that last term, negative 10x. So now we are simplifying. Okay, so that means combine like terms. So I like to underline all my x's and underline all my y's to make sure I know which ones are like terms. So if I combine those, remember I'm not doing the inverse. I'm not adding 2x to negative 10x. I'm combining like terms. So I'm combining exactly what I see in negative 2x minus 10x, which is a negative 12x. And then just rewrite the negative 4y because nothing else can simplify there. There's no other y's to add it to. Last two questions. Solve the following equation for x. I'm going to show you two different ways. Okay? A lot of you guys, whenever you see a number out front, like to distribute that negative 3, which works. Negative 3x, negative 3 times positive 4 is a negative 12. And then just undo order of operations. Add 12 to both sides, which gives me negative 3x equals 6 plus 12 is 18. Divide by that negative 3, which is the entire coefficient, and I get x equals negative 6. Or, for some of you guys that see this, if you want to undo order of operations, this is negative 3 multiplied by the expression x plus 4. And to undo multiplication, we can just divide both sides by negative 3. That allows the negative 3's to simplify out, and I get x plus 4 is equal to 6 divided by negative 3, which is negative 2. Undo the addition of 4, which is subtraction of 4, and I still get x equals negative 6. Either method works. Okay, if you'd like to distribute first, then distribute first. If you'd like to just go right to undoing the order of operations, absolutely, go for it. Last one, graph the equation. Okay, so first off, I like to label my slope and my y-intercept. Remember, we start with the y-intercept. It's a positive 5 on the y-axis, so please plot that point first. Then, I like to write my slope as a fraction to remind myself that it is rise over run, but I only see one number here, so remind yourself that I need to rewrite that as negative 3 over 1 if I want to clearly see the rise and clearly see the run. Okay, now the negative only stays with 3, and the denominator 1 is still positive. Now if this is a negative 3 for the rise, that means I'm going down 3, and if the positive 1 is the run, that means I'm going to the right 1. Now I'm going to apply this slope multiple times to the y-intercept that I already plotted, and then connect those dots, connect those plot points to create a line. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3 to the right 1, down 1, 2, 3 to the right 1. If you want to plot another one, you absolutely can. 1, 2, 3 to the right 1. For those of you that like to do the inverse to get a point in the other direction, instead of going down 3, I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3. And instead of going right, I'm going to go left, which is right over here. Connect those points. And please create the arrows at the end, because that reminds us that this pattern continues on forever. Take a look. I know it's a lot, but remember you need to know 8, 9, or 10 of these. Remember, a 10 will be the best score you can get, but that's just like getting 100 on a test. Okay, good luck, guys.